We're told the White House has 18 suspects in the Benghazi terror attack. They know who they are, but the president won't give the green light to seize those 18 suspects. And also a top White House advisor insisting Republicans owe Ambassador Susan Rice an apology. Well, any chance of that happening? Senator Lindsey Graham joins us. Senator, nice to see you, and we repeatedly...
Hey, how you doing?
Very well. We repeatedly see this. We had a White House representative on the 5 Sunday shows this weekend as well, asking Republicans, I suppose they mean you, for an apology to Susan Rice. Are you going to apologize?
Not only does she not deserve an apology from me or anybody else for the way she misled the American people, she deserves to be subpoenaed by the Congress and have to give answers to hard questions, something she's never had to do before. She should apologize to Greg Hicks, the #2 in Tripoli, the #2 guy, second behind Chris Stevens, who said, I quote, "When I heard her testimony, my jaw dropped, my heart stopped, and I've never been more embarrassed."
So what do you make of the White House suddenly raising that again? Maybe they didn't raise it.
Well, this guy that went out Sunday is just on a different planet. I guess he thinks everybody in the country is stupid. Was she an empty vessel that they could pour misinformation through? She was chosen because she was the most politically compliant person. She just didn't say this was no evidence of an al-Qaeda attack, this was caused by a video, a spontaneous event. She said, well, we obviously did have a strong security presence. She said there was a significant security presence defending our consulate and our facility in Benghazi, and that did not prove sufficient to the moment. Did anybody in any talking point suggest the consulate was strongly, significantly, and substantially secured? She was blowing political smoke. She was selling for the president. She said, let me remind you, al-Qaeda's been decimated, bin Laden's dead. She was trying to create a narrative 7 weeks before the election. The consulate was strongly secured, and the president was a strong leader on the war on terror.
Well, she went behind closed doors with the U.S. Senate Republicans right about that time.
Yeah, me.
And were you convinced then?
Oh, I was convinced that she was completely misrepresenting the facts. If she looked at the classified information behind the talking point, she could not have suggested to anybody on the planet this was caused by video and spontaneous in nature. All the information coming from Libya. There's 100 pounds of information suggesting a coordinated al-Qaeda-sponsored terrorist attack and 1 ounce suggesting a protest, and they picked the ounce. Don't lose sight of the fact that the story she told on behalf of President Obama and the administration was the best story they could tell 7 weeks before election, totally disconnected from the facts, and she should be apologizing to Greg Hicks, to all the families involved, and she should be subpoenaed. And I'm going to do everything I can to make sure the president himself has to account for what he did that night. Where was he at months before when the consulate had been previously attacked? And why did he say for 2 weeks after the attack, well, we think this was a protest caused by a hateful video? The president himself needs to account for what he told the American people.
All right, let me switch gears a little bit to the fact that Jennifer Griffin reported yesterday that there are 18 people the White House is aware of that are in Libya, and they have not yet green-lighted to go in and seize them with a military action of any sort. I mean, or any action. I don't know what they should do.
I've heard that there are people that we know were involved. We know where they're at. And I've heard that the leader of this al-Qaeda affiliate, we know where that person's at. And one of the arguments is, well, we don't have enough evidence to convict them in civilian court, but we could hold them under military law. The idea that we're not in there today asking Libya to go in and help us pick these guys up and put them in prison to interrogate them about what happened in Benghazi and about any future attacks maybe coming our way just blows my mind.
Is there, quote, a Libya to talk to? Is Libya?
Sure, absolutely.
All right, so I mean, so why aren't we asking Libya? I mean, these people killed our 4 Americans. They're 18. We've identified them on tape. That's how they've been identified, on tape by apparently by the CIA. What's the back off?
I don't think this president's very interested in finding out the truth about Benghazi. The truth is that this was a coordinated, pre-planned terrorist attack, long time in the making.
But the election's over. If your theory
well,
that is
let me tell you, this will affect his legacy. The American people deserve to applaud President Obama when he went after bin Laden. We got photos, a minute-by-minute scenario of what he did as our commander-in-chief to go after the #1 terrorist in the world. When it comes to explaining his actions that night before and after the attack when 4 Americans were murdered by Al-Qaeda affiliates. We don't know anything he did. We don't know where he was that night. We don't know when he went to bed. We don't know what he did months before when the consulate had been previously attacked. And I want to hear from him. He doesn't have to tell me, but he needs to tell somebody. Why did he say 2 weeks after the attack we thought it was a protest caused by video when there's really no evidence at all to suggest that 2 weeks later?
We have 20 seconds left. Is there any, I mean, this whole idea of all these pages that we still haven't been released, are we going to see them?
I want the survivors. I'm not stopping till the people in Benghazi get a chance to come to the Congress and tell us what happened. I'm not stopping till the president has to answer for his actions as commander-in-chief. And as to Susan Rice, she's not going to get apologies from me. She's going to get a subpoena.
Senator, thank you, sir. Always nice to see you, sir.
Thank you.
Coming up.